Welcome, friends, to the animation experience at Conservation Station. Since the 1930s, Disney animators have put their pencils to paper in service of the idea that the greatest inspiration often comes from the magic of nature. Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling that has shaped our relationship with animals and conservation forever. Today, we invite you to become a part of that legacy as our own Disney artists help you learn to sketch characters inspired by the very animals found here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Get your pencils ready, because here comes our animation artist now.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the animation experience here at Conservation Station. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. How many of you are here for the very first time? Newbies. Ooh, there's a lot of you. Very cool. For those of you that have been here before, welcome back. For the new folks, we're going to go over a couple things with you before we get started. Number one, we want to make sure you have everything you need to draw a character here today. Clipboard. You should have found that at your seat. When you're done, please make sure to leave it at your seat, because the show behind you, they would appreciate something to draw on as well. So when you're done, just leave it sitting up against the back of the seat right where you found it. Don't stack them up or put them all at the end of the row. Just leave them right there on each individual seat. Paper and pencils, you picked those up as you came in. Those are yours. Free gift from us to you for our 50th anniversary. Congratulations. Free souvenirs. Keep them, treasure them, cherish them, sell them on eBay if you like. That's fine. If you don't want them, however, we ask that you please recycle them, because we can recycle the paper. We can even recycle the pencils. Put them in that old basket over there, and we can turn them into mulch, spread them across Disney property in your honor so they don't go to waste. All right, and the last thing that we need is, of course, a little bit of inspiration. And that comes from the animals that inspire our classic animated characters. And today we are going to be drawing Pua from the movie Moana. And as much as I would love to bring one of the Kuni pigs from outside, they need to stay out there where people can get up close to them and pet them and love them and learn about them, because they are awesome. But we are going to show you a little bit about some of the other porcines you can find here at Walt Disney World. So take a look on screen for our inspiration.
If you love pigs, Walt Disney World is the place to be. With so many different species to get to know, you will squeal with delight. Our first 3 residents are at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. Let's go! This little piggy lives near Conservation Station at Rafiki's Planet Watch. You might not recognize this special breed, but this small domestic pig is called a Kuni, and they come all the way from New Zealand. Look at him go! This little piggy lives on the savannah and can be seen from Kilimanjaro safaris. Warthogs come all the way from Africa, and they aren't so little after all. Check out that shovel-shaped snout, which all of these pigs have in common. They use it for digging around and finding food. And take a look at that tail. The warthog's tail is very animated. Look at it go. See how they throw their tails up when they're excited? Although cute, this can sometimes flag to others that danger is close by. Oh, hello! And this little piggy lives at the entrance of the park in the oasis. With its exotic, streamlined look, the babirusa is also known as the deer pig from Indonesia. This little piggy lives on the savannah at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. These little cuties are called Red River hogs. They come from Africa too. And they all love to do what pigs do best, wallow. They dig shallow pits of mud and they roll away. Yeah, it's a pretty smart way to spend your time, since it keeps you cool and protects you from biting insects. So come see all of our pigs here at Walt Disney World. And while you're here, be sure to learn more about pigs and how supporting the Disney Conservation Fund protects all kinds of amazing animals from around the world. I bet the excitement of our little pigs and conservation will have you saying, wee, 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 I don't want to go home.
All right, now is everybody inspired? All right, 3 people, awesome. Keep in mind, when you're done here, if you do go outside and you meet the Cooney pigs, pay very close attention to an adorable one named Charlotte. She's kind of the black and white Cooney pig. Yeah, because she is the actual inspiration, the model for Pua. Yeah, the animators came here when they were working on Zootopia and Moana to study the animals. And back then, Charlotte was just a little itty bitty piglet, and they fell in love with her. And so she is actually the real life Pua. So go out there and meet a movie star. All right, so we're going to get started, and we are going to draw our very own version of Pua. Should you need anything during the middle of the show, maybe your pencils break, your paper spontaneously combusts, and you need a new one, or maybe you're getting frustrated and you want like crayons and coloring sheets instead, or maybe your kids want some crayons and coloring sheets, just raise your hand. One of my friends around here will be happy to get those out to you. And if you need to exit early for any reason or use the restroom for those reasons, head to the left toward the illuminated sign that says exit. Go through that little animal tunnel. That'll take you toward the exit and the restrooms. All right, with that said, let's get started and let's draw Pua. And we're going to start by giving him some eyes. So we're going to find that short line just above the bottom of our little onion gourd shape. You go straight up from the end of that line. I'm going to put a little mark right about halfway between these 2 parallel lines over here. It's going to mark the inside edge of his eyeball. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just go straight up and put a little mark right there. And then using that little mark in these 2 lines, we're going to draw a circle. Or as good of a circle as we can. Just really light, barely touching the paper with our pencil. If it's more of an oval shape, that's fine. The most important thing is that it stays really, really light. As you may have noticed that your 50th anniversary pencils there, they don't have erasers. So do not worry about making mistakes. It's okay. When you get home or to your hotel room or wherever and you find an eraser, feel free to use it. We don't have much time, so don't worry about making mistakes right now. Make them. It's okay. Very light, put a nice little circle there. We're going to do the same thing here. And that's going to give us the basic shape for his eyes. And another reason we're going to keep it really light is because we're going to add his cheeks next. We're going to push those cheeks up against the bottom of his eyes. You know when you smile really big, your cheeks push up, your eyes kind of get that little squinty look to them? That's what we're going to do here. So right across the bottom of his eye, I'm going to add what looks kind of like a little S curve. Think of a very stretched out sideways letter S. So there's the top of his cheek actually pushing up against the bottom of our eye. I'm going to darken in my cheek curve there. So we're going to cut off just a little bit of the bottom of our circle. And I can go over and darken in the rest of it. You can see how that dark line starts to stand out. Everything else just disappears, fades away into the background. Your eye's only going to be focusing on that dark line. But again, don't worry about mistakes. It's okay. We'll do the same thing over here. Nice little S curve. Just across the bottom of his eyeball there. And then darken in the rest of it. So now we've got some eyes. Inside those eyes, we're going to add pupils so he can see. And Pua is a young piglet, so we're going to give him these really big, adorable eyes. That's one of the things that make babies look really cute. Big eyes, little tiny faces. And so we're going to make these pupils really big, taking up almost all of the space inside of it. His eye there, just sitting right on top of our cheek. And put this nice big pupil. We'll do the same thing over here. big. With these cute little eyes. At the top of those pupils, I'm going to add a little tiny circle. Maybe a little off-center, because I'm going to say instead of being straight up, I'm going to put the light source over here. So the sun's maybe over here, coming in at a little bit of an angle. And that'll give him that little twinkle in his eye once you shade in the rest of that pupil around it. Nice, big, adorable eyeballs. At the top of his eyes, we're going to add some eyelashes, because he's a mammal. Mammals have eyelashes. I'm just going to thicken up this curve here at the top. Give him a little hint of some lashes. As you know, he's not a princess, but he does have eyelashes to help keep stuff out of his eyes, the same way we do. So now we've got some eyes, we've got eyelashes. Let's give him something that pigs are famous for. Probably the first thing you imagine when you think of any kind of pig: expressive eyebrows. Right? No? Yeah, they don't really have expressive eyebrows, but he's an animated character. So sitting here right along the guideline, just above his eye, I'm going to add a little curve. I just really like kind of swinging up and over his eye. On this side, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. So he's got one raised eyebrow. His co-star is, of course, Dwayne Johnson, so he's famous for doing that one raised eyebrow thing. So we'll raise this one up a little bit. But we want to make it look furry, because Kuni pigs are quite furry. So think of it more like a lightning bolt. Have a little fun with it, make it zigzags there. Thicken it up a little bit. A nice, fun, fuzzy lightning bolt kind of shaped eyebrow. And I'll do the same thing over here. Kuni pigs will actually get longer hair in the wintertime when it's colder, so they can grow a longer, thicker coat and help them stay warm. In the summer months, their coat will thin out, and their fur will also be a little bit shorter, helping them to stay cool when it's hot outside. Now we've got some eyebrows. Let's add in his nose, which is a very unique feature. And his nose is going to start right here at that little hash mark, kind of right between the eyeballs. Think of it like a little hill curving up to that little line and then back down again, and keeping it nice and light. And then I'm going to swing it out just past the edge of the eyes and curve it down to that longer line underneath. So it looks almost like a misshapen or melted Hershey's Kiss. I'll swing it around, curve it back underneath. Now, a lot of those other pigs in the video that you saw, like especially the warthogs and the Red River hogs, they use their snouts for digging because they like to eat root vegetables and tubers, and also use them to look for buried insects and grubs and things. Now, Kuni pigs are grazers, so they're not going to use their little snouts like a shovel. They're going to graze browse and grass and things like that, so they're not going to use that snout to dig. It's just going to sit there and look adorable. So got that nice little piggy snout, and we can go over. Once we're pretty happy with it, darken it in. And he does have a great sense of smell, like his cousins. Now, warthogs and those Red River hogs are super smart. They can smell things underground. And so keepers like to keep them entertained by giving them challenging puzzles to solve. And so far they haven't come up with one that those pigs have not been able to figure out yet, because they are incredibly intelligent animals. So now we've got his nose. Let's give him some nostrils. And his nostrils are these nice little oval shapes, kind of pointing right toward the spot where our two guidelines cross. So think of like a big tic-tac, kind of pointing right here toward that little spot. A nice big oval there. We'll do the same thing on this side, pointing right toward the middle. And we can shade in his nostrils. There's not a lot of light is going to go into his nose. Add a little wrinkle. Put a little curve kind of right along the center. And we'll throw in a few wrinkles above his nose. So we've got eyes, we've got a nose. Let's give him a smile. And his smile is going to sit just right below each eye. We're going to add a little dimple, kind of following the curve of our cheek there, just right to the side of our nose. A little curve here, and yet another one, just right under here. Give him these cute little dimples. And from the dimple to the bottom of our nose, we're going to create this little smiley face. Just kind of curve it right down and into his nose. Now, Kuni pigs come from New Zealand. They are what is known as a heritage breed, because way back in the 70s, there were actually less than 50 Kuni pigs. Yeah, they were 50 pigs away from extinction, and 18 of them were collected to start a breeding program to help bring them back. And so today, they are actually doing quite well. But yeah, just less than 40, 50 years ago, they were almost extinct. So that's one of the things that the Disney Conservation Fund helps to protect our animals like these Kuni pigs, because they are so valuable. So now we've got his little smile. We'll add a little lower lip, about halfway between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of our onion shape. That's about where his lip is going to go down to. So we're going to draw a nice little letter U shape swinging down. Open up his mouth a little bit. And we can add his tongue inside. Just two little curvy lines, kind of like rolling hills or sand dunes, one right in front of the other. And a nice little tongue. And we can even shade the inside of his mouth above his tongue. For his lower lip, we'll make it stand out a little bit by adding just another little curve right underneath. Now his lower lip kind of sticks out a little bit. On the sides of his face, we're going to add some fur to his cheeks. So, starting here, right here where that onion shape kind of curves out to give him these nice big chubby cheeks, we're going to add a few little tufts of fur. As they get older, Kuni pigs will often develop these little waddles of loose skin on the sides of their face. But for Pua, he's just a little itty bitty piglet, so we're going to throw in just some little tufts of hair. Have some fun with it, maybe even throw in a little single strand of hair if you like. Let's try and keep it nice and rounded, because Pua is a hero character. He's a sidekick. He's adorable. We don't want him to be sharp and pointy. And just trace over the bottom line all the way down to the center to complete his chin. We'll do the same thing over here on this side. Add a few little tufts of fur. And just trace right over that line. Now, Pua only is in the movie for a little bit. I think less than 5 minutes at most is all of his screen time. Because originally, the story team wanted Pua to go on Moana's adventure with her. But Pua's smart. Too smart. They didn't want Moana to have any help whatsoever. They wanted her to have to struggle and figure things out on their own. And so instead of Pua, who would have been a helpful sidekick to guide her in her adventure, they gave her Hey Hey. Yeah, because Hey Hey is completely 100% useless. Yeah. Yeah. But they did add that fun little joke, because you always see Hey Hey trying to eat rocks. And who's his co-star? That's right, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So when Dwayne calls him a boat snack, he gets his revenge by eating a rock. Ah, slow burn, slow burn. There you go. Yep. So the rock tries to eat him, he eats rocks instead. All right. So we've got some cute little tufts of fur on both sides of his cheeks. We're going to add a little bit of hair to the top of his head. He's got a little spiky hairdo. I'll throw in a few little poofs kind of sticking up. Have some fun with it. And that's the beauty of fur and hair. It moves, it changes. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. And just trace right over the rest of that gourd shape. And there's his adorable little face. On the sides, we have these two little brackets. That's going to mark his ears. And he's got some very large ears. So I'm going to start with a little letter C shape, kind of right inside that bracket. And a little backwards letter C on this side. Now, Kuni pigs, their ears are very varied, like a dog's ears. They can be pointy like Pua's, or they can be floppy. A lot of the other pigs, their ears are pretty much exactly the same all across their species, but Kuni pigs do have lots of variations in the shape of their ears. Also in their coloring, they can be everything from black to white, with creams and beiges and grays all in between. So for Pua's ears, I'm going to start here just a little bit below the top of his head. Say right about there, and if you want to go straight across, you can put another little mark on this side so that his ears are even. And I'm going to draw, again, another long S-curve, like the one we used for his cheek. Curving out and connecting to the top of that letter C shape. This long, swoopy curve. And do the same thing over here. So that'll be the top of his ear. The bottom of his ear kind of connects just a little bit below our guideline, so kind of right into the fur here on the side of his cheek. And again, we're going to have that nice long S-curve. So we get this, again, nice big Hershey kiss kind of shape. For the bottom of his ear. And again, if you want to go straight across, kind of right again into that little tuft of fur, we'll do the same thing over here. And these nice long S-curve. And then add the little fold in his ear. And go just a little bit above the top line here across his eye. So I'm going to say right about here. And again, if you want to go right across. And we're going to draw the same matching S-curve. And connect it into the bottom of our little letter C shape. So that gives us the fold in his ear. And same thing over here. And these nice pointy ears that are going to stick out. Inside of his ears, we can add a little bit more fluff. He's got some little hairs in his ears to help protect his ear canals and keep stuff out of those ears. You can throw in a few little tufts of fur there. And last thing that he needs are his markings. Because he's got little spots on his face. He's kind of a beige color with little grayish spots. all over his body. And got one big spot right around his eye. So I'm actually going to connect my cheek up to each end of the eyebrow there. It's going to curve right up. And that'll add that nice little spot. And if you want to lightly shade it in, it's going to be that nice grayish color. There's one. Right here in the middle of his forehead, he has one that looks a lot like a T-bone steak or a sideways apostrophe. And again, just a quick light shade through there, add that little spot. And one more, a little bit longer, almost like a hot dog, here along his ear. And there you go. There's a very quick sketch of the very cute, the very lovable Pua from Moana. So when you are finished with him, make sure you sign your name on there. Be proud of him.
You're welcome.
Whether he looks horrible or adorable, you created him, you brought him to life. The same way that our Disney animators did when they came over here and they fell in love with an adorable little piglet named Charlotte, who you can meet right outside. So when you're done, take them home, hang them on your fridge, your neighbor's fridge over at Lowe's or Home Depot, hang them on a fridge somewhere. Go take a picture of him with Charlotte, his actual model/actress, and enjoy the rest of your adventures here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. When you leave, again, just make sure you put the clipboards right back on the seat where you found them. The paper, pencils, those are yours. Again, if you don't want them, please recycle them. Don't just leave them on the floor or throw them in the trees or the trash. So thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your adventures and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us in the animation experience at Conservation Station. Please gather your personal belongings before exiting, and remember to take your artwork with you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your visit at Rafiki's Planet Lunch and the rest of your adventure here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Goodbye.